Okay, we're recording now. Well, first I want to say welcome first year CMHC students. We're so happy to walk alongside you on this part of your journey in picking your practicum and internship site. So we're just going to go through a few questions. We'll introduce ourselves, and then also all three of us are from Stenzel Clinical Services, interning. It's practicum and internship. So we're currently in the internship stage. And yeah, and this is a private practice. So we'll introduce ourselves and then give a brief description of the type of clients you serve at your site.
I can go first. My name is Nina, and yes, I'm also at Stenzel Clinical Services. And a brief description of kind of some of the clients that I see at our site is I see a lot of adolescents. Specifically, I see a lot of adolescents with generalized anxiety disorder. I also see some elderly clientele as well. And then I see two middle-aged women. And they also have adjustment disorder mixed with anxiety or adjustment disorder mixed with depression, as well as I see one client that does have bipolar 2 mixed with depression as well. So that's kind of some of the clients that I see regularly at Stenzel Clinical Services. So that's something about me.
Yeah, I'm Katie. And my primary population is adolescents. I'd say it's probably like 60% of the clients that I see. But I also see like a couple of women in like their 30s and 40s. And yeah, I'd say like they mostly suffer from depression and anxiety on the whole. And I have like a pretty good mix of Christian and non-Christian clients. So yeah, that's kind of cool. And for the adolescents, it kind of depends on their parents and how much they've like made their faith their own. So yeah.
And I'm Camille. Sorry, I didn't say my name earlier. I see, so most of my clients are white or Caucasian. I have one Hispanic client and one who's Eastern European descent. My age range is 14 to 42 right now, but the majority of my clients are in their early 20s. So a lot of anxiety, depression, just dealing with life transitions and emerging adulthood. A little bit of trauma with a couple of clients that we worked through or we're working on. Yeah, I think that's a good summary. So the next question is if someone could share what the interview process was like for this site.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So the interview process, so it was with Grant Stenzel. I'm pretty sure Grant is probably going to be the one doing interviews for you guys for first years who are interested in this site. So Grant is the head of the practice, and basically some of the questions that I remember asking, so preparation for you guys who are interested in the site, was just giving like different scenarios of how would you approach this and how would you treat this client, and also just character wise, just getting to know us and who we are and a little bit about our faith background has also been super helpful in the interview process. So it was a very interpersonal and very very relational interview that we got to have with Grant, and that's something that I really appreciate about our site, because they really want to get to know the heart of the person and just really get to know kind of what we envision ourselves as being a future clinician and kind of where our style is at and what if we thought about our style. So that's kind of what I remember the interview process was like.
Yeah. And at least for me, I only had one interview. There was no second interview. I think the same for you guys. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So pretty straightforward. He's super chill guy, so
Don't be nervous.
Low stress.
Oh,
right.
So true.
Okay, so the next question is what kind of student would be a good fit for this site, and what kind of student might not be a good fit?
I can speak to that. So we set our own schedules pretty much for the most part at Stenzel. And so you have to be pretty on top of your schedule and organized, I feel like would be good. I mean, it's something you can definitely grow into if you're not organized, but yeah, it can be a lot to manage that. Um, I feel like this is probably true of every site, but just like a willingness to learn and like a willingness to engage with other therapists because I feel like they have so much knowledge and you can learn a lot from them. So just being humble enough to ask. Yeah, and I feel like a self-starter and like a self-motivator is probably really good too, just because you are on your own a lot. You're thrown into the clients like from the beginning. So yeah, as much as you can, yeah, just be self-motivated to get stuff done is really helpful. Someone who would not be a good fit, I don't know. I feel like they can work with anyone. I mean, if you don't have a good sense of humor, that's not good. Because just lots of stuff comes up, and also I feel like everyone at Stenzel is just really funny and fun.
Mm.
Yeah, but I do feel like I feel like organization is so huge. Like if you can't keep your schedule together, it's gonna come back and bite you. So I feel like that's probably the biggest deterrent in my opinion. I don't know if you guys have other thoughts.
Yeah, along with your willingness, I'd say someone who takes initiative because there are 40 plus therapists at Stenzel across 4 sites, but there is a lot of opportunity to talk with and engage with other therapists, but it can be really easy not to do that also. You have to be willing to go ask someone or find out, like, is there someone here who knows about addiction, and go seek that person out and talk to them. But everyone is so willing and so welcoming to talk to you. So it's not scary to do, but it just does take a little more initiative. And because we don't always cross paths in the office with people.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, cool. The next question is, what is supervision like at our site?
I could speak. Yeah, I'll speak to that one. So basically, throughout the week is that we have a triadic supervision, and so what that entails is with how many interns that are in, with how many interns that are in this season or for next year, how many that you have at Stenzel, you are going to be seeing them once a week. Um, and so Katie and I's supervisor is Alex. And so Alex is an LCPC. And so he's the one that we kind of discuss some of our cases with if we need, if we have clinical questions, as well as if we need some clinical insight from him and being able to just kind of check in just to see how we're doing. We also have group supervision once a week as well. Before I get to that, something that's really cool about Stenzel is that they provide a lot of opportunities for us to learn and to grow in. And so group supervision is a really good tool that we get to use because we're with licensed clinicians. And we talk about like either there's a case scenario and you learn more about, okay, like what interventions can I use with this modality and how does she approach like this client with suicide? And it's been really helpful just to be able to learn from people who have had many years of experience prior to us, because obviously we're still developing clinicians. So that has been really helpful just to be able to learn from them. We also have individual supervision as well that maybe happens once a month. And so what that means is that instead of meeting as a triad, you meet individually with our licensed supervisor. And so going over specific case with them, kind of the same thing. But the only difference is that you can be more specific because you have an hour with them. So you have more time to discuss more detail oriented things about your case and your clients. So that has been something that has been really helpful. And yeah, making sure you take notes and making sure that you really use what they have to say because they're very knowledgeable and they have a lot of wisdom to share. So yeah.
That was a great summary, Nina. Just being mindful of time, so I'm going to move on. So what is something that you've learned at your site that will stay with you in your professional counseling practice? I can actually speak to this one. So I think the biggest thing I'm learning now, just being such a new counselor, only 4 months in, 5, I don't know, is to really figure out who I am as a therapist. And I think that's one really, really strong attribute of Stenzel is they do really throw you in, but it's so that you can practice and develop who you are as a therapist. And so there's so much freedom to explore that and a lot of growth to be had. But yeah, I think that's one thing that will stick with me is to continue developing who I am as a therapist and who these other ladies are in their own walks. Yeah, it's a really great place to do that if you really just want to discover who you are as a person and as a counselor. Yeah, would you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, and we can all briefly answer the last one of the best part or challenging part at your site.
I think one of the most challenging things for me has been adapting to a more professional lifestyle, just for me personally, because I come from a ministry background and it's pretty fluid. So just like keeping up with notes and making sure you use clinical language and scheduling and being on time and just all the things and like professional boundaries, that kind of stuff, has been really good to learn, but also is hard. Best part, I mean, the actual counseling, just getting to sit with clients. It's been really fun to see them make progress. I feel like that's, yeah, not unique to this site, but I feel like you just get a chance to do it a lot and counsel a lot of people. And so you do actually get to see them make progress along the way, which is cool.
Yeah, I would say probably the most challenging part about it is just being able to have enough tools in your toolbox to use with your clients. And so being able to understand and kind of analyze what your clients need and identifying that need within your client. Because sometimes they'll have clients that don't even know what the heck they want to work on. And sometimes you have to take the time to really just sit with them and just observe them. And so I think as a starting clinician, baby counselors, I think it's important to just be able to give yourself grace in that, but be able to be able to sit with them and actually listen intently to what your clients have to say. I think that is a challenging part because there's just so much depth in what they're telling you and their story. And it's also a challenging part of really just watching your countertransference with them because you feel so hard for your clients and what they go through. So that's also a really challenging part. I think the best part though is I agree with Katie. I think, yeah, just seeing the Lord's work just continually transform them and seeing that they actually are in control of their lives and not letting their anxiety or depression or whatever they're struggling with take hold of who they are and kind of lose that part of themselves and lose their identity in that. And so I think it's been really cool just seeing clients be able to, yeah, they're thrown into the fire, but they're able to come out victoriously. And it just takes time to see that change though. And so I think that has been the best part of just seeing your clients just, yeah, just share with you that, yeah, like, Nina, I was able to finally overcome my anxiety when it comes to getting into the car and driving every single day and going to work and seeing people. And I'm finally able to have a conversation with someone. And you're like, yes, all right. And so yeah, I would say that's the most rewarding part.
Yeah. I think one challenging thing about this site in particular is I think they could have done a little more on the front end of training with the professional side of things and learning our system. It's called AMD, and like where to find the progress notes and how to find assessments and just like kind of the background things. We didn't have a lot of training on that. And then we were kind of thrown in and learning how to counsel on top of just learning about Stenzel. So I think I would have appreciated a little more training on the back end of things ahead of time. But they're very receptive to feedback. So I feel like this might not, it's possible it won't be like this when you guys join. But I think just in closing, a really great thing about Stenzel is the community there. And it's really fun that 3 out of the 4 interns this year are from Stenzel, us 3. From Wheaton College. So it's really fun to have classmates there and to get to interact with these ladies and then just how welcoming all the other staff members are and the supervisors. Yeah, it's a really great environment. So we wish you the best of luck in your journey, and please reach out to us if you have any questions about Stenzel, and we'll be happy to chat with you and answer any questions you have. But good luck, you're gonna do great.